webinar perdana Saroha. Webinar sekarang ini adalah awal dari beberapa series webinar yang Saroha rencanakan untuk memperkenalkan budaya Batak dan keindahan alam Danau Toba dan sekitarnya. Bahkan pentingnya untuk memelihara keindahan alam dan budaya di sekitarnya. For all the audience, untuk kita semua, please observe, diperhatikan ya bahwa webinar ini is being recorded. Webinar ini kita record. Our primary target for this webinar, the audience, are actually millennials and Z generations who are of Batak descent. But of course, the webinar and the effort are not limited to just these guys. Millennials are considered to be those who were born in early 80s to early 2000s, and Generation Zs are considered to those who were born in and around early 2000s. So fairly young audience is our primary targets. However, we are very, very, very happy to have people across all age groups and background and locations as well. So again, welcome everyone. Dalam bahasa Indonesia, target audience kami dari Saroha sebetulnya adalah generasi muda Batak, generasi milenial dan generasi Z. Tapi tentunya webinar ini terbuka untuk semua kaum dan generasi. Generasi milenial ada yang lahir tahun awal pertengahan 80-an sampai awal tahun 2000-an awal. Dan Z adalah yang lahir tahun 2000-an awal sampai sekarang. Jadi selamat datang untuk semua. Terima kasih dan kami amat senang sudah dihadiri oleh banyak hadirin dari semua usia dan dari semua generasi. Before we start, this seminar webinar is answered by Saroha, USA. So, sebelum kita mulai, we want to introduce Saroha USA. Siapakah dan apakah Saroha USA? For that, I would like to have Bapak Kurnia Utapea, one of the original founder. Salah satu founder daripada Saroha, to give an introduction of who Saroha is. Silakan Lai Kurnia. Maaf, Lai Kurnia masih mute. You are muted.
Thank you, Pak Moderator. So let me introduce what Saroha is. Saroha is a non-profit organization that intends to preserve and promote the culture of Indonesia. We focus on the tradition and cultural values of North Sumatra and aim to spread the beauty of its culture to America. This vision and mission are applied through a variety of visual and performing arts activities in the form of festivals, concerts, traditional processions, seminars, exhibitions, education, and humanitarian efforts. Saroha was established on July 6, 2016 in Washington, D.C. by a group of people who love the culture of Indonesia, especially Batak culture. The love and pride of our home country, especially our ethnic roots, was the main driver behind the establishment of this organization. Finally, Saroha is fully committed in promoting the culture to be passed down from generation to generation. We believe those who know their identity possess a self-belief that can help them fulfill a unique role in their lives. Dalam bahasa Indonesia, Saroha adalah organisasi nirlaba yang bertujuan untuk melestarikan dan mempromosikan budaya Indonesia. Saroha fokus pada tradisi dan nilai-nilai budaya dari Sumatera Utara dan bertujuan untuk membawa dan memperkenalkan keindahan budaya tersebut di Amerika. Visi dan misi ini diwujudkan melalui berbagai kegiatan seni dan pertunjukan dalam bentuk festival, konser, prosesi ritual adat, seminar, pameran, pendidikan, dan kegiatan sosial kemanusiaan. Saroha didirikan pada tanggal 6 Juli tahun 2016 di Washington DC oleh sekelompok orang yang mencintai budaya Indonesia, khususnya budaya Batak. Rasa cinta dan bangga terhadap tanah air, terutama etnis suku Batak, adalah faktor yang utama di balik berdirinya organisasi ini. Sebagai penutup, Saroha berkomitmen untuk penuh dan selalu aktif dalam pelestarian budaya yang akan selalu diwariskan dari generasi ke generasi. Saroha percaya mereka yang memahami nilai-nilai identitas budayanya akan memiliki kepercayaan diri yang baik dan dapat membantu mereka dalam menjalankan peran di dalam kehidupan. Terima kasih.
Okay, thank you, Lai Kurnia. So, let us get into the meat of our webinar, and please allow me to introduce our main speaker tonight or this morning, Ito Annette, Boru Siallagan. Orasito, originally, let me give a brief of introduction, and then I will to Ito Annette. Ito Annette originally was from Europe. She came to North Sumatra area about 27 years ago, fell in love with Lake Toba and its surrounding area. In one of her YouTube documented interview, her heart was touched by the natural beauty of Lake Toba and the culture of Batak people. She changed her travel plans at that time to stay. Ito Annette married Lai Antonio Silalahi. They have 3 children, handsome Batak boys and a beautiful Batak girl, and they live in Samosir. She is a very passionate, they are very passionate environmentalists, eager to make Lake Toba area cleaner and spreading awareness of sustaining nature to locals. Dalam bahasa Indonesia, narasumber kita pada pagi ini dan malam ini adalah Ito Annette Boru Siallagan. Awalnya dari Eropa, Ito Annette datang ke Sumatera Utara kira-kira 27 tahun lalu dan jatuh cinta dengan keindahan alam di Toba dan sekitarnya. Dan sejak itu, Ito Annette tinggal di sana. Menikah dengan Lai Antonio Silalahi, mempunyai 3 anak. Dalam bahasa Batak ya, 3 anak ini 2 bawa, Nalaga, Dohosada Boru Nauli, mereka tinggal di Samosir. Ito Annette adalah passionate environmentalist dan dengan hati untuk menjaga dan melestarikan keindahan kebersihan di Samosir, Danau Toba dan sekitarnya. So before I hand it to Ito Annette, for all the audience, I want to set a reminder that a note, not a reminder, that we will set aside the last 15 to 20 minutes of this webinar for Q&A. Untuk pertanyaan, tanya jawab dengan Ito Annette. So we are excited to have it. Our ask to please follow the following rules to ask questions. Number 1, if you have questions or comments, please post your questions or comments into the chat window here. We have a person dedicated to monitor the chat window, jadi tolong pertanyaan atau komentarnya di post ke chat window. Karena ada yang memonitor, atau kalau ada pertanyaan dan komentar pada saat Q&A nanti, please use the raise hand feature of Zoom to ask. Pakai feature raise hand dalam Zoom ini, nanti administrator dan moderator akan memberitahu untuk membuka mic untuk bisa bertanya langsung. Okay, so Ito Annette, good morning, welcome. We are so blessed to have you, and thank you for agreeing to be the main speaker and resource for this webinar. Ito Annette, please tell us about yourself. Many of us in the audience, myself including, want to know, how did you come to Lake Toba initially? How did you come to the Huta? And what makes you fall in love with the surroundings and the Batak culture? Open-ended, Ito Annette. Please feel free. Go ahead.
Okay, then. Horas Madhita Sude,
Horas.
which means hello, good morning, good luck, all blessings for all of us. I'm very proud to be here as a speaker, and especially the target to be talking to the young generation really fills my heart. Because I'm lucky, I have 3 children, and they are all very capable of 2 cultures. They have grown up in Batak land. They have learned a lot from their opung. You all know opung, right? Nenek, apa, grandmother. And so my children are Marco, Julia, and Ronald Hotto. And they know both, as I said, it's really good to be able to appreciate all Batak values and all the Batak life, but at the same time mix in some Western values, because in Germany we have on top of the Batak values, which are similar in many ways, we have values on top of this, which I will talk about later. So Marco is in hotel business in Denpasar in Bali. Julia is in environment studies in Germany. And my youngest son is a chef in Germany. And so we hope that they will all come back to Batak land. They all decided on having the Indonesian passport, because we see our future in Lake Toba. It's, for me, the best place to be in the whole world, and my kids feel the same. So at the moment they are just collecting some experiences and some skills away from here, and we hope that we can all be gathering again here, which of course depends on their partners and on their future ideas. Mixed couples, I know a lot, and it's very interesting because the children are, first of all, they are very handsome and very beautiful, because the two genes mix very well. And also, yeah, it's for sure there's a big conflict of what to follow, the modern life or the old Batak ways and Batak culture. I would like that people from mixed couples have at least a little bit of a clue. Even though you're living in America, you must have a little bit of a clue what's the family bonds in Batak, which I think is the most important for me.
Yes.
The amazing family bonds, how to call your aunties,
Yes.
how to how to understand the triangle of Dalian Tolu, which we might discuss later. So I love the effort of being here and listening to me for everybody. So thank you very much in the first place for your interest. How did I get here? I was traveling and I was in Thailand, and I've never heard about Lake Toba before, because Lake Toba is a hidden paradise, right? Not necessarily a lot of people know about it. They know Bali, but Sumatra is, like, for me, was still the really exotic jungle-y destination. Like, adventurers would go there and really far out. So I think one of the things about Lake Toba is that it's really not well known. And I was lucky to hear a lot of stories about people, and they were always touching my heart. Like, you might call it destiny or something, because people talk about a lot of places, right? You meet people in Thailand, they talk about Cambodia, they talk about India, they talk about Bali. But it was Lake Toba that was really like hitting me with the stories about this amazing landscape, about this wonderful lake, and the people. They were really raving about the Batak people, how happy people they were, how they were entities. So it's really good for mixing, for us Westerners mixing with the Batak people to to see their ways and experience a new kind of mentality and openness. That's something about Indonesian people. They are really open compared to us Westerners that always need their privacy and individualism, whereas the Batak people or the Indonesian people in general are very keen to ask you all these questions. Dari mana? Sudah berapa anak? Berapa bersaudara? Apa pekerjaannya? Berapa gajimu? So all these things are so different for us, but like cute, like interesting. So I came to the shore of Lake Toba after I changed my whole travel plans. And I stood by the valley in Balige, where you get the first glance of Lake Toba. And I was just amazed. This was like above all expectations. And what I've seen at that point was only like a quarter of the lake, because from Balige you only see, so much. You just see the southern part, and then you see Samosir Island, which I thought was the other coast, but it's actually the huge island of Samosir in the middle of this lake, which is actually 87 kilometers long and 30 kilometers wide and 500 meters deep. So this was for me a natural attraction like never before. And then I felt like, wow, this is so absolutely amazing. And I continued my journey to Parapat, and the next morning I took the boat over to Samosir Island. I was on the boat with a few of the locals. They were kind of entertaining me and trying to introduce their hotels to me. And then I was on that lake, and I was looking over the volcanoes in the north and this huge blue lake, and I thought, I gotta be here for a longer time. I must stay here, not only for a tourist visit, but like I want to spend the rest of my journey here, which was 3 months to go. And so the decision that I needed to be here came very early, just by its amazing beauty, plus the climate. I mean, Lake Toba has the best climate for me. It's like midsummer in the west. So we have like between 20 and 28 degrees. So it's just perfect temperature to feel well. And altogether it was amazing. Not long after I got there, and I woke up every morning opening the windows of my little Batak house, which was overlooking the lake. And just every morning again, I was like, oh, wow, where am I? This is so, so beautiful. And not long after that, a young man came into my life. So he was kind of interested, and he was, coming closer to me. He asked me to come for some trips. So we went actually to a wedding of his friend in Siantar together. And I didn't have any plans, I was asked in Bukit Tinggi before, you're traveling alone as a woman? Are you looking for a husband? And I was like, no, of course not. I'm just traveling alone because I like to be alone and be independent and do my own thing. And so that's when, a few weeks before I met my husband, they asked me this question. I said, no way I'm going to marry an Indonesian person. Like, sorry to say, but I wasn't really attracted. I was not really my size. I'm big, I'm 173, and like 80% of the men are smaller than me. It was not my plan, but since he was a very nice guy, maybe somebody wants to show a picture. One of the administrators, please. I have this nice picture of my Batak, this beautiful man in the Batak t-shirt. So you get a clue why I fell for him. Because Anto Silalahi is really handsome, and he's got this aura, he's got this like charisma, of having a very open and very happy face. Those are my kids,
Yeah, these are the kids.
Pretty much.
What are the names, Annette? What are the names of the kids?
The one on the left is Marco.
Marco, how old?
Marco Tabo, he is 26 now.
26.
And my daughter Julia in the middle, she is 24. And my son Ronald Hotto, he is 22, and he's the chef. Yeah, that's us at the airport a few years back, actually. We don't meet so often nowadays. Because
so the one in a blue shirt is Lai Antonius, Lai Anton Silalahi.
Yeah, maybe if you scroll through the pictures, there's also a single picture of him. Yeah, that's us. Yeah. So they all have these Indo features. Now that's Lai Silalahi, Lai Mutulang.
Ada komentar di chat itu, Annette, dibilang it says one wonder I'm gonna butcher my German here. Wunderschön family, dibilang. Keluarga yang
Danke
baik,
Tulan.
keluarga yang cakap.
Makasih banyak Tulan. Yeah, so that's how it all started. And Anto, my husband, asked me at some point, do you want to help me in my life? And I was like, what's that question? Yeah, you know, I mean, help you in your life. I mean, do you mean we should help each other in our lives? Because this was like his wedding approach, his like asking me whether I want to marry him. And then I said, well, you know, it's not only that I'm going to help you, but let's help each other. So we decided to to live together and to open a little place here called Tabo Cottages. By now, when we started, it was only Tabo restaurant and German bakery, and we just started with whatever we had. I had some budget left over because I actually skipped my America part of the journey, and that saved me a lot of money. And so we could start with something simple, with just an open restaurant, Tabo restaurant and bakery. And then we made a few rooms at the time when we had some money, and then we could extend. And I'm very proud that I can preserve Batak heritage here a little bit. You see this beautiful sopo. It's called sopo. It's a house. It's more like a storage house and discussion house or a public space. It used to be on the hill of a mountain, and with a lot of effort we knocked it down. It was in very bad condition because it had already leaked through, and some of the wood was already rotten, but with very smart carpenters we could get it back to life, and this is now kind of our icon by the lake. And it's just the most wonderful place to be sitting and having a nice chat, because that's what the Batak kings used to have. They used to have their chats in their sopos. Yeah, this is our property. This is the east wing where the best rooms are, with lake view, and they have good facilities, air condition and so on. And this is the latest rooms we have. We started very small, and on this land we could also buy occasionally. And yeah, the Batak houses are really a big part of the landscape. So they're all old houses. We have 9 houses in our property. And so rather than being rotting away and being destroyed by termites and stuff, I thought, let's take the effort and make them into guest rooms. There's maybe some pictures of the guest rooms, what they look like now, because of course we had to modificate them a little bit, because Batak houses are pretty low and dark. You know, they don't have many windows, and the door is very low, so that you have to first give your respect. You have to bow down to go into the house, and that means you give respect to not only to the people that own the house, but also to the spirits, because the Batak people very much believe that the ancestors do hang around the house. In the third part of the building, it's like 3 levels. One is at the bottom where they keep their animals and their whatever tools and stuff. In the middle area, the people would live, and in the upper area, which is like a loft in a Batak house.
So there is, I'm sorry. So there is still that apa namanya budaya ya, bahwa ada yang tinggal di situ, jadi perlu menghadap ke arah tertentu, begitu itu Annette ya. Dan
ya,
ada
benar sekali itu masih sangat dipercayai atas itu masih animist ya, belief atas rumah juga punya spirit. Like rumah sendiri akan sedih kalau ditinggal, atau rumah akan tidak misalnya kalau kita bersihkan keliling rumah, datanglah mertua saya bilang ngamekel jabui misalnya. the house is happy, you know, the house can be happy, the house can be sad. And so that's a nice part of the belief. And also, yeah, that the spirits of the grandparents, parents, and people who passed away are still kind of joining into the life, are still kind of watching. So that's a bit strange, and it's also a little bit controversial with Christian belief, where you should only pray to one spirit, which is Jesus Christ. But in Batak, they actually do still worship their ancestors, and for me, that's fair enough. No problem with that. Okay.
Yeah, itu Annette, kalau boleh, if I may, if you can finish up maybe in the next 2 minutes or so we can move to the next section. There's going to be Q&A, and I'm excited. I think there's going to be a hopefully good Q&As towards it, Annette.
Then I go on with what I would call the pros and cons of the Batak life.
Yeah.
So since I was adopted by the Siallagan clan, I became Boro Siallagan atau Pariban Bapak Simarko, which is Bapak Simarko is my husband Anto. You call them by the name of their children. So there is a big responsibility when you get adopted in a Batak clan, because it's first that they all really trusted that I'm part of this clan. It's not like, oh, yang dibikin-bikin, like it's just for show that I'm getting a Batak name, but whoever I meet who is from that clan will kind of be accepting that I'm his daughter, his sister, whatever, her sister-in-law, and so on. So that's amazing. I feel this big community around me, and it's pure. It's really from the heart. And I also like the way they celebrate their parties. Of course, it's totally overdone, like this all makeup and all this whatever things you have to wear, and it's not comfortable. You look like a princess.
Tapi cantik-cantik kan itu, kalau sasaknya tinggi, makeupnya pakai kebaya, kan cantik-cantik guru Batak itu.
Nah, itu juga memang festive banget ya. Kalau orang memang ke pesta memang festive banget. Tapi yeah, it's a huge circle, yeah. Like for example, if I have a nephew and his father-in-law passes away, I mean, in our society, I wouldn't even know. I might not even know. But
in
then
Western society,
yes, but in Batak society, you got to go there. You got to be there. And so for me, it's very time-consuming, and sometimes the bounds are a little bit too far. But I mean, it's I accept it, and I do my part. And sometimes I can also leave earlier because I'm a busy woman, or I can just come for a handshake on the local party. I just have the communal meal and shake hands and give my little donation, like whatever it is. Can be money, can be ulos, can be rice, and so on. Depends how you're related. So that's nice. And I of course love the Batak culture, like the houses, the artwork, also the Batak philosophy. They have a lot of rules in Batak that are really true, and also Batak people are very close to nature, actually. So they have a lot of herbs that they know that are healing, and they really take care, or took care, before the chemical fertilizers came. So they had really a great way of organic farming, and that's also something we need to go back to, in my eyes. And their products are also amazing, like the ulos, the weavings, and all this heritage should really be taken care of, in my eyes, because it's outstanding. It's one of the cultures in the world, maybe, which is still existing like this and still being practiced like this. So it's very important that all of us that have to do with Batak or are Batak understand the roots, understand the relationships, the Dalian Natolu structure of where you honor your bridal like part, like my family, my father, my mother, my brothers are all very outstanding and respected persons. And then we have the Silalahi clan, where where we have to be manat-manat, yeah, mardongan tubuh, which means pair in between each other. And then we have the Boru, which is the daughters of the Silalahi clan, and they are obliged to be helping us out, and we are obliged to be loving them and being good to them, so they will always be able to help us. So that's maybe a little bit of inspiration, or like my idea about what we should all together try to preserve, this amazing Batak culture, and especially for the youngsters.
Yeah.
Really important that you come to Lake Toba, that you see it yourself, that you see the simple village life and meet the people and see their culture and their way of living. I think we can learn a lot from them.
Yes, for sure. Thank
Okay.
you.
I think my time is up. So thanks for listening.
No, that is great. Itu Annette, thank you so much. Terima kasih banyak. Sudah sharing banyak sekali ya. I think what strikes me personally, apa yang menyentuh saya pribadi adalah bagaimana itu Annette, as a person who grew up in Europe, and the bread and butter is so much different, datang ke Lake Toba dan bukan hanya bisa mencintai alamnya, tetapi bisa bukan hanya beradaptasi, not only to adapt, but also to really come to love our culture. I think, itu Annette, maybe at this point you know a lot more about Batak culture than many of us in this call, myself including. So really, really amazing. But for us in Saroha, this is really one of our passion, to pass on that culture, the pride and the knowledge of the Batak culture into our younger generation, so that the generation below us and our grandchildren and great-grandchildren continue to maintain that not only culture but the love for Lake Toba, and be able to really contribute and have some thoughts into enhancing the maintaining and enhancing the culture. But sebelum kita masuk ke sesi tanya jawab, moga-moga dari hadirin ini ada pertanyaan-pertanyaan untuk itu Annette nih ya. Pertanyaan-pertanyaan untuk Annette. In Washington DC area, we also try to introduce the Batak culture, not only to our kids but also to our surroundings. So sekarang ini saya mau untuk Pak Administrator men-sharing video dari salah satu one of our past events when we perform in US Department of State. Jadi ini Departemen Luar Negeri Amerika Serikat during one of the cultural event. Ada anak-anak kami yang namanya Noah dan Hannah. Noah and Hannah Pangaribuan, who are generasi muda Batak yang tinggal dengan orang tuanya di Baltimore. Mereka amat gifted di bidang musik dan mereka infuse untuk memperkenalkan lagu Batak di US State Department. Hanya 2 menit lagu ini, Lai administrator, boleh minta tolong di-share agar audiens juga tahu? Oke, silakan. Okay, terima kasih, Lai Administrator. So that was Noah and Hannah performing in Departemen Luar Negeri Amerika Serikat tahun 2017 apa 18 saya lupa, waktu Saroha diundang untuk dalam salah satu cultural event di sana. Okay, so I think for the last 20 minutes or so of this webinar, we really want to open it up into question and answer. Jadi sesi tanya jawab ya. Saya pribadi ada beberapa pertanyaan nih untuk Ito Annette setelah mendengar cerita-ceritanya tadi. I have a couple of questions for Ito Annette ya. But there is more than I think about 60, maybe more, 70 users in this Zoom. So I really hope there is going to be questions coming up. So as a reminder to all of us, if you have questions or comments, there are two ways to do it. Number one is please post it in the chat group. We do have Pak Baris, Lai Baris Simanjuntak, who is monitoring our chat and will facilitate if there are questions. Or there can also be questions via raised hand. If you raised hand in Zoom, then our moderator, our administrator will take you off mute and allow you to ask questions. Okay, so let us start. Ito Annette siap ya? Kalau ada pertanyaan itu kita sama-sama. Ya, okay, very good. There is a first question. This one, Ito Annette, is from my family actually back in Indonesia, from Karen, and then after Karen we will go to Mesak, who is in Baltimore. So Karen, please take yourself off mute and ask the question. Tanya, silakan. Masih mute tuh Karen. Kurang kedengaran Karen, tolong lebih dekat atau lebih keras suaranya.
Halo, ini udah kedengaran belum?
Sudah kedengaran. Teknik Industri 2019. Ya, silakan.
Hai, what should I call you, Tante Annette?
Buru apa kau Inang?
Enggak.
Jadi
Aku
itu
half Batak.
Ya, half Batak. Just
what
call
is
her
your name?
Inang Annette. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So Inang, I have a question. How do you find Batak's culture different from other cultures in this world? Like as you said before, you have experience living in Thailand and Bali as well. Can you answer it like not relating to your marriage, because I know that like love conquers all, maybe like, so like it's my question, like how you find it different from other cultures in this world.
Well, yeah, first, this culture is alive, yeah, so it's being practiced. So that's something that really strikes me, because you see a lot of old monuments and old history, like heritage. But yeah, what I like is that the philosophy of Batak to respect each other and do certain ways to also take care of your spirit, like your living spirit. There's several ceremonies that are still being done. Like, for example, what I really much like is the thing in Batak, when there is a man in the family, he sometimes gets a specially cooked chicken. It's called napinadar. And that's to keep the spirit happy, to strengthen the body and the spirit. For women, the same thing happens with a fish, with a goldfish or ikan batak. So that's, for example, something that I think is really, really nice, yeah, because it's always such a nice little gathering of the closest family to push somebody's well-being and spirit culturally. So, for example, that is amazing. And compared to other cultures, I cannot really talk because I haven't really looked deep into another culture. Yeah. So I can really only say that for me, the Batak culture is very important. And yeah, the family bonds are something that I love most about it. Is that enough?
Yes, that's more than enough. Thank you.
Okay. Mhm.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Annette, for answering that. Okay, next we have Mesak Hutapea from Baltimore. And then after Mesak, we will go to Amos Sianipar. Mesak, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Hi, Inang Annette. I just have a question. What's your opinion on Batak food and Batak music? I know you mentioned earlier about the ikan mas and the ayam, but I just want to know, like, what do you think about it overall? If you eat it every day,
Oh,
you know, or just for pesta-pesta?
well, I love Batak food,
Uh,
especially since and because of Batak food, I gave up being a vegetarian. And that came because I was working on the spices as Boru Batak. I have to prepare the parties. And so I was mashing up all these amazing spices. And I thought, well, I have to try this. And as I tried it, I forgot about being vegetarian. So that's how much I like it. And yeah, this is definitely also very healthy food. Like I think if you eat a lot of arsik, yeah, which has all the like the turmeric and the ginger and the andaliman and all this, I guess it's also really good for you. So that's what I love. Batak music, well, the traditional Batak music for a long time was like a pain in my ear, like this sarune going na 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 na. I ran away from it, yeah, because it's like, wow, this is so hard on my ear. But through the time, and when I also learned about the Batak Totor that's included in it, I learned to love it. And still, I have a problem with the volume on the parties, yeah. So I wish to wear like earplugs, but that's part of the deal. And also, I love the effort of like Vicky Sianipar, my good friend, who has turned the corny Batak music, like say the Batak pop music or the Batak ballads, into something more, yeah, like
More
easy
modern.
to listen to and modernized, and so that it also appeals to the young generation. So I guess through the Batak music, you guys can also learn about Batak culture, because there's a lot of very good
Yes.
texts involved as well. There's a lot of so-called poda. Poda is like how do you translate that? It's like a
Pesan.
message.
It's a message, yes. Pesan-pesan.
Yes. So both of those things, the food and the music, I definitely love.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Ito Annette. Thank you, Mesak. So next, we will go to Amos Sianipar. Ito Annette, this is my youngest son. Anak bontot saya. Siya Pudan ini.
Oh,
Dari
Hara,
Amos.
Hara.
Hello.
From Amos, we will go to Ito Riani Sijabat. Yeah, siap-siap Ito Riani. Go ahead, Amos, please.
Hold on. What was my question? How did your family, like, what was your family's initial reaction to you deciding to stay, like your family in Germany? What was their initial reaction? And how is it when you just told them that I'm gonna stay here and not come back? I'm gonna live here now. So.
Well, of course, they were disappointed because I was going to give up my career. I was actually supposed to become a lawyer. And so after traveling, I decided that that's not my job, that I want to do something completely different. So that was the first thing that was for them very hard. And then after they've been here for my wedding, they had a huge culture shock. Because some ways on the Batak weddings are, in our eyes, I'm sorry to say that, but it's a little bit primitive, yeah. So if you like good table manners and you love aesthetics, so a Batak pesta is shocking. So people running around with black buckets and a little plastic cup in there, and they smash like a portion of meat on your rice, and people eat with their hands, and the hygiene, like about washing your hands. I mean, washing your hands in that
That is
bucket
the best
where
part,
20
Ito
others.
Annette. The
Pardon?
dirt from our hands is the best part to mix with the
Yeah,
food.
the vitamins, yeah. It
Yeah,
makes us
vitamins.
stronger. Yeah, so first they were not happy at all. But then, I mean, we're individualists, and my parents told me with 18, you're adult now and you do your own thing, you live your own life, which is also very different from Batak, because in Batak, the parents always stay parents and the children always stay children. So we had a bit of a situation sometimes with my mother-in-law mixing in too much into our lives and into our business, because yeah, the respect to the parents is very, very big. And the individual part where people say, okay, you can do your own thing, do your own life, is different in the West, definitely.
Okay, thank you, Ito
All right,
Annette.
thank you for
Thank you,
answering the
Emma.
question.
So Ito Annette, by the way, the I don't want to say negatively, but the interesting dynamic between the mother-in-law and the parumayan is not unique to you. I think that's across all Batak people. Yeah. Okay, sekarang now we go to kita ke Ito Riani si Jabat. Silakan Ito off mute. Setelah Ito Riani kita Ito Annette, karena ada hula-hula saya di sini, saya harus hormat sama hula-hula saya. Jadi berikutnya Layak Wilson Huta Barat, Ito Annette ya. Silakan Ito Riani.
Baik.
Halo semua, I am Riani Sijabat from Indonesia actually. I live in Depok. I am the cousin of Kak Helen. Halo Kak Helen and Kak Pera here. So it's interesting. I know this is a session actually from the posting in Facebook from Kak Helen. So that's why I joined this session. So actually I would like to know from Kak Annette, ya. I'm si Jabat. Halo Kak Annette. Siallagan and si Jabat is Warna. Yeah. So Kak Annette, I would like to know about how do you implement Dalihan atau Lu philosophy in your life? Because once, as you said, mentioned, right, when you enter a Bataknese family, you have to adapt with the Dalihan atau Lu, right? So how do you learn and then adopt it and then adapt with it? That's all my question. Thank you.
Well, yeah, definitely. I have understood that it's very important to keep the good contacts to all of the three parts of Dalian Natolu. So, for example, my Batak brother and his wife, which are actually living next to us, you know, I really like to spoil a little bit sometimes. Like, it's tradition that for New Year's you go and bring some cakes, or you help out on any event and stuff like this. So that's very good. And also I learned that my sisters-in-law, which are all Borusilalahis around me, are the ones that we can always call in for like something to help out. Like, for example, we have a big group coming in. I can tell her, hey, can you cook like 50 portions of chicken or something? And she will do. And I couldn't do that to like this other part of the family, for example. So this is something we have to learn. And plus, I've learned from a very good friend, Suhunan Situmorang, which is one of the person that has taught me most of my Batak skills about the background of the Batak way. And he told me, you can apply that to your business. And I really love this idea. So the hula hula, which is the important part of the family, which is respected and honored, we consider our guest the hula hula, because the guest gives us the blessings. That means he gives us money. So that's the blessings we can get from him. So that's why we have to treat him like a king, which is actually a global thing. Yeah, there's this king. And then we have our business partners, like say, for example, we have neighboring hotels, we have travel agents, we have guides that work with us. So we treat them as dongan tabutuha, which means we treat them very fair and very very good, very fair.
Respectful.
And then we have boru, which is our staff. So our staff, we have to be respectful to as well, and we have to treat them well. marelek marboru means you have to be good to them to make sure that they work for you in a good way. So I love this idea, and I have already spread that until the Ministry of Tourism. So there was already billboard saying tamu kita raja kita, so atau hula hula kita. So I think that's something very good to consider for Batak people running a business. Sekian dan terima kasih.
Oh, that's great.
Mantap. Mau lihat Ito Annette. Sebetulnya thank you Ito Riani ya sudah bertanya. Jadi Ito Annette nih hebat nih, pengetahuan adanya, kebudayaannya juga bagus, mengerti Dalihan Tolu. Saya rasa saya pun juga kurang mengerti Dalihan Tolu itu apa. Tapi
Yeah, I learned from Dalihan Tolu actually when I did my undergraduate final assignment. So that's the topic. So that from that time, I learned, I read so many literature about Bataknis.
yeah.
One of the book is created by J.C. Vergowen. It's Netherlands author, I don't know, but he wrote about Bataknis also. So yeah, I learned a lot about Dalihan Tolu from that time.
Mantap, thank you Ito Riani. Oke, kita ke pertanyaan berikutnya ke saya Wilson Huta Barat. Oh ya, kalau bertanya bisa juga dalam bahasa Indonesia, bahkan kalau mau bahasa Batak itu Annette lebih senang mungkin kalau ditanya dalam bahasa Batak. Nah, dimulai dengan hula-hula saya. Jadi baik mak bahasa Batak ile, mendukung lah itu Annette. Boido, gimana marata Batak?
I'll talk in English. It's okay. Thank you.
Setelah Lai
Yeah.
Wilson kita ke ini ya, siap-siap Jeremy J Pangaribuan. Silakan Lai.
Yeah. Hi, Ito Annette. I'm very proud to see you embrace the Batak culture, and so proud because our generation right now is most of us really avoiding to go to the party, Batak's party, even like in Jakarta. So it is. I'm proud to see. Like other bule. Yeah, I say bule. Yeah, bule to embrace Batak.
Bule jadi bule gila pula.
Yeah, no. So just easy questions like. How do you deal with the transition with the toilet from from the culture, from the outside culture to Indonesian culture with the jongkok? Jongkok, right? Kneeling. So yeah, that's my question. Easy one. Thank you.
Ini amat spesifik pertanyaannya nih.
Yeah, okay. Well, I see the point. In general, aku nggak ada masalah dengan jongkok karena aku juga environmentalist, so aku jongkok banyak juga di alam.
Okay.
Jadi itu sudah biasa. Yang saya belum bisa terima itu kurang kebersihannya. Jadi just yesterday ya kami ada trip, ada suatu festival di Bea, tempat yang lagi booming, dan habis dari situ kami juga kunjungi beberapa kedai dan ya toiletnya minta ampun. So aku sudah ada rencana untuk Ibu Kadis Pariwisata dan juga bersama kita dari PHRI, mungkin Eda Tiolina juga hadir di sini. Atas kita harus buat program untuk cleaning toilets, like learn from scratch how to clean a toilet because that's so important for tourism, yeah. So I think toilet jongkok boleh lah, tetapi yang bersih lah, gitulah kira-kira.
Great, thank you.
Oke, jadi transisi dari duduk ke jongkok itu nggak masalah untuk Ito Annette Lai. Kira-kira itulah yang saya terima. Terima kasih Ito Annette, terima kasih Lai. Oke, so now we're gonna go to Jeremy Pangaribuan. After that, ke ini ya, ke Mawar Sianipar. By the way, Ito Annette, because we have several questions here, is it okay to extend a little bit past the hour? Or
no problem. I have all the time in the world today.
Okay, great. That's great. That's great. Okay. So Jeremy Pangaribuan, please go ahead. And then after that, we'll go to Mawar Sianipar.
How long did it take you to learn the Batak language?
Good question.
Excuse me. It took me a long time. And you know why? Because my family didn't want me to learn the Batak language. And that was a good way to protect me from knowing too much too early. Because I'm sorry to say that the Batak ways, in some ways, don't really match with my way of living. So there is there is a lot of, I'm sorry to say that, greediness in Batak life. Things are pretty commercial or pretty money orientated sometimes, which has its background, of course, being able to put people through school and so on. And salut, yeah, Batak women are really, really genius in managing money. But also, yeah. So there were some situations where there were discussions about money things and appearance things like pesta-pesta harus cantik-cantik semua and so on. So those things would have maybe turned me off if I would have understood them too early. So it was a great idea of my husband to say, look, you keep going learning Bahasa Indonesia, which I have already done while I was traveling. And so the Batak language I learned pelan-pelan, mostly on the market actually, and in church. Why in church? Because the Bible and the songs are all translated, and we have the same songs and of course the same Bible. So that's how I got into Batak pelan-pelan. And yeah, the more I learned, I mean, it's like a little bit torn. Yeah, there's really things that I love, a lot of things I love, a lot of things until now I cannot really accept yet, but I have to because I live here. And I have also tried to make some changes in some ways, and that has worked a little bit already, at least in my closest family. But to the Batak language, I mean, I can only like to stimulate everybody to learn it. So I think one word everybody has to learn is horas. I have it written on my t-shirt here. Can you see this? Horas is a very good word. Everybody must know it. And then a little bit of Batak language for daily life. You got to know. You're Batak, guys. You have to know how to say nunga mangan ko. Have you eaten yet? Or bohado atau didia inang uda atau things like this. Takes the effort, guys, because even with your parents at home, you can practice it, and then you come to Batak land and people will love it that you speak the language a little bit, and you can reply to some questions. And my idea is that you guys also, if you're staying in America, take the effort and learn it. It's not too hard.
Thank you for the answer.
Thank you, Ito Annette. So Jeremy, in short, it's not too difficult, but it does require some effort. So practice, especially your dad is fluent in Batak language, like Gerald Pangariban. Okay, so now next we go to Mawar Sianipar, and then we have actually, this is great. We have a lot of questions, raised hands, and in the chat. So after Mawar, because my Ito, like Ito Annette, Sumihar is having a question. She has a question, but she has to go. So after Mawar, we go to Sumihar Sianipar. Go ahead, Mawar.
Hi, Tante Annette. Thank you for speaking today. Going off of my cousin Amos's question, how did your parents and family take the news of you being adopted into a Batak clan? And then also, how do you balance and keep all the cultures being in a mixed family? So the German culture, the Batak culture, Indonesian culture. Thank you.
Very good question. Very good question. Thank you very much. Well, how did my parents take it? How did I take it? It was actually, for me, it was a total surprise. Like I wasn't prepared at all, because my husband is not very intellectual, and also his language, like English, is a little bit limited. So to explain what's happening in an adoption in Batak clan is quite difficult. And for him, it was just like, you got to get that surname so that you become the daughter of my uncle, which is the wedding partner in Batak. That's perfect. And so that's why we have to do this. Then I got there and I was so overwhelmed that there was a whole house full of people that all came just for me. And I was given that fish and like I was in tears, you know, I was really torn. Like I was like, what's happening now? What is the consequence of all this? And then I also remembered my parents, like, am I now getting new parents? What about the status of my old parents? And then I learned that through me being adopted, my parents are also being looked upon as siallagans, marga siallagan. So my brother comes, he's also marga siallagan. So that's what I loved about it. Like, it's not that they separate. Okay, there's the German parents, the Indonesian parents, but we're all of the same clan. So my parents came for a little party and suddenly they were hulas. They were doing the Batak. It's so funny and it's so great. So of course they were also a little bit jealous, and also at the setup for the wedding when the video started and stuff, there were my Batak parents next to me, and then suddenly somebody remembered, oh, we should maybe take the whole same, the original parents as well into the picture. And so that was a bit tough for all of us, you know, that I suddenly become a new, get a new identity, but it works really well together. And yeah, my Batak parents now have already passed away, but I still have my brothers and sisters, and yeah, they love that we have an extended family now. Like my parents in Germany do accept that that needed to be done for cultural reasons, and so it's fine lah.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Mawar. Thank you, Ito Annette. It's great to see how your German parents and family are able to not only adjust but be accepted, right? That is one of the beauty that I personally love about Batak culture. It's the core of it is about love. Okay,
Yes.
so jadi ada so we go to Ito Sumihar Sianipar. Ini Ito saya kandung, Ito Annette. Jadi Ito Sumihar, Ito Butet, tolong off mute. After that, we will go to Sadrak in Baltimore. Okay, lain ma Ito.
Okay, thank you Ito. Horas Eda.
Horas, jadi aku panggil apa ini? Namanya panggil apa aku sama Eda? Masih
Nggak
pertanyaan.
tahu Eda.
Aku
Saat
bilang
sadari
ini par.
butet doa widijo. Ala idang butet be. Nga 56 tahun na Eda. Ama ngoy. Ay torus do butet ibain guarhu. Alay nasa botul la guarhu Sumihar Sianipar Eda.
Okay.
Biasana butet na paling geleng do kan boru. Alay adong do pe anggi kusada. Alay lo masongoni Eda. Torus mabutet. Eda, sa tabi niyon da, songoni mamolay na inabatak, ikon mangulaon, dang boy kita, tabo-tabo, songoni hudul-hudul. Amang.
Ada pertanyaan muna Ito.
Nanay husukun, ada geleng muna, tolu geleng muna kan, sada buru, dua bawa. Ay iparsi ajari hamu dan doi jabu marhata hita, ganu pari, marhata hita do hamuna, dungi napaduahon suku-sukutku, molo tolu na gelengmu mandokon anon, dang lau muli malang mangoli tu halak Batak hami bah, buado ahado lawalus mu eda.
Baik, jadi Inang Butet ini nanya apa saya pakai bahasa Batak sama anak-anak di rumah. Kebetulan saya coba pakai bahasa Jerman di rumah dulu, apalagi waktu masih kecil, untuk masih ajar misalnya orang itu harus tahu bahasa Jerman karena kita mau jumpa sama opungnya sama tulangnya di sana, jadi harus tahu bahasa Jerman. Tapi opungnya yang tinggal sama kita selama 15 tahun, opungnya pasti marhata Batak. Kalau bapaknya juga generasi sekarang juga suka berbahasa Indonesia karena anggap itu lebih advance gitu, lebih modern dan itu juga bahasa di sekolah. Whereas aku pikir itu memang bolehlah marhata Batak dijabu itu dengan do. Because is no way they will not learn it kalau orang itu growing up di sini ya. And so now we do mix and match because all three of them speak fluently German now, and so it depends on the situation, you know. Also in our group we use 3 bahasa or even 4. But it's a good idea to learn it definitely. And then the second part of your question, what was it again, Inang? Sorry, I'm losing focus because I'm having artists sitting here. Artist.
Molongan ang muli manang manguli halaki. Idokon to eda.
Iya, nah sonom mainang ikon si Marco nga marhalet tu burugultom.
Dengan.
Burugultom memang cocokian alani tulang ni inatahinan gultom do. Jadi hula-hula. Jadi sangat pintar na malu maiba na mamilit bergultomi. Jadi mudah-mudahan tahun Mei tahun depan mungkin sudah mau pesta kita. So menurut kami kan itu sudah sangat-sangat berharga untuk saya dapat perumahan orang Batak asli ya kan. Mula nomor 2 dengan marhalet tong tu mixed couple child itu dia itu mamanya orang Medan, bapaknya orang Jerman. So itu kebetulan sangat cocok juga, sangat cocok. Kenapa? Karena saling belajar. So it's funny that he's called Marin, is more German than her, and she is more Indonesian than him. Karena and itu ada cocoknya dan ya kebetulan dia non Batak ya. And with Boru, when Boru marries, it's maybe not so important to make a marga for the husband, but for the children, laki-laki, is very important to have a hula-hula. Yeah. So even if my youngest son, who has a Hungarian girlfriend, if he happens to marry her, then we will definitely make her some Batak clan. Could be again Boru siallagan like me, because then she is Pariban. Could also be Boru Samosir like from my mom, and to change the generation a little bit. Masa siallagan terus hula-hula. That's probably the plan when it comes to the question of them getting married to foreigners.
Okay. Bah, nga terlambat eda. Kupikir boy hita mareda nasa botula. Nga, mudah forget it. Mau lihat eda?
Iya.
Ya, eda semua maito. Bye now.
Oke, ang gope sa danay bawai ito, boy doan non sukunun muna mulu adong kesempatan kan.
Bah, nauli.
Oke. Baik, oke kita lanjut ya. Jadi maaf karena kita sudah lewat 10 menit. Kalau memang ada yang keluar dari Zoom ini tidak apa-apa, tapi ada survei nanti pas kalian keluar. Hanya 2 pertanyaan singkat. Tolong dijawab. Please answer the survey. It's only 2 questions, very short, very brief. Before you leave when you leave, not before. When you leave the Zoom, okay? So again, if you have to leave the Zoom, it's okay because we're over time. But please answer the survey. So next, we are gonna go to Duweni Sadrak Philip Hutapea, who is in Baltimore. Sadrak, you can also speak Indonesian or Bataknese here. Please go ahead, and then after Sadrak, we will go into a question from chat. Go ahead, Sadrak.
Hello. My mom is Simarmata, so I call you Matua.
Mantap.
Yeah, Horas.
And I just had a question because I remember you said earlier your career plan was to become a lawyer, and I know a lot of like orang Batak, because I think it's like more of a poorer country, they really emphasize like education and like the normal route of like getting a job, but you like took a risk and like left it all. And I just wanted to ask, like, how did you know and like how are you confident to like do something that could change your life so drastically?
Yeah, well, it's like that I've already divorced from the whole profession that has to do with law, because I had a bad experience in my exams, and then I decided I don't want to spend my whole life fighting, because that's what a lawyer has to do. So he has to take care of some interests of some people, and a lot of times the clients are not happy. Whatever is the outcome of a law case, most of them are not happy. So that's when I was actually really happy to try something new, and hospitality is really a nice thing for me. When I was a girl, I used to cater already, or used to serve people on parties and stuff, and I like cooking and baking, and so I thought that the chance, like job-wise, the chance would be here to open a vegetarian restaurant and a bakery. And so that was a good idea, and it worked. So because in Indonesia, you don't need so much money to survive, and it's easy to save up money when you live a simple life. Don't go shopping in all the Western supermarkets and stuff. And so that was a great opportunity for me, and I took it, and I never regretted that I have missed out on whatever career in law.
That's great. Thank you, Ito Annette. Hopefully that answered your question, Sadrak. So there is a question in the chat from earlier, Ito Annette. This is from Regina Hutasowit. She actually is based in Kupang in Nusa Tenggara Timur. She is a cousin of my wife. So let me read the question if you don't mind. Jadi saya baca ya. Horas, pada Annette, I want to ask, how do you tell your children who is not 100% Bataknese that punguan artinya pengumpulan, is important to follow, just like to follow Instagram? And secondly, the millennial are introvert generation. When we put them in arisan, they don't seem to be interested. When in arisan, ya, do you have any suggestion so they can blend? Jadi rupanya Regina Hutasowit ini tertarik bagaimana agar anak-anaknya bisa tertarik untuk ikut arisan Batak khususnya itu. Bagaimana pendapat itu, Annette?
Nah, di situ aku sendiri sedikit malas ya ikut punguan. Kenapa? Karena punguan itu kumpul sebulan sekali di hari Minggu sore, dan makan-makan dan berdoa dan membahas beberapa hal biasanya ya. Tapi kebetulan I left this to my husband, because Sunday is for me a day of recreation and do my own thing. Like I love to go out into nature on Sundays because I feel it's a holiday, and without any bad conscience, I can switch off my phone and just be who I am, and don't have any duties on Sundays. But for sure, to follow this group of, it's normally one marga and they are Boru and Bere, yeah, is not a bad thing at all, because there might be issues that are important to discuss and follow. But on the other hand, since I'm still very high individual, like I like my individuality more than the clan being. So that's something for me that's unusual, that things that I want to discuss, I have to discuss with the whole clan rather than discuss with the people I trust and want to share my things with. So I'm sorry to say that that punguan thing is not really mine. So it's maybe a little bit contradictory to your effort to get your children to join the arisan. Maybe you can join formally, and maybe join sometimes. Nowadays you can also do things through Zoom meetings or WhatsApp groups. Maybe that's more time saving and maybe that would be a good compromise.
Yeah, it definitely is not easy. Nggak mudah ya untuk membuat anak-anak kita tertarik untuk perkumpulan Batak. Kita pun kadang-kadang juga seperti yang itu Annette bilang, bosan juga kadang-kadang. Tapi setelah kita nikmati ternyata memang menarik. Jadi memang itulah tantangan kita, tugas kita untuk anak-anak kita itu, Annette. Oke, terima kasih Regina. Pertanyaan berikutnya dari chat itu Annette adalah dari Imelda Norton. Saya juga nggak begitu kenal ini. Saya bacakan itu Annette ya. Horas, Eda Annette. How do you think we can contribute as a Batak global citizen, spread around the world but still honor their homeland?
Contribute, yeah. Maybe you can contribute by sharing, like you're far away from the Batak land, but you want to care about the Batak land. That was also an effort of my community called Safe Lektoba community. There are people that cannot live here, that cannot be here all the time, still want to make sure that the environment is being taken care of and the culture is being kind of like dilestarikan, yeah, how you say that, to preserve the culture and the Batak ways.
To preserve, yes.
Well, nowadays we are globalized, so communication is rather easy, and I think the Western influence for Batak land is good, like especially if it comes to advanced methods of, like, yeah, for example, the rubbish problem, to teach them not to burn rubbish, to teach them to go back to their grandfathers' ways of planting things, like going back to organic, and use all the genius technologies of Batak farming. I think that can be an approach, like whenever you come pulang kampung, and I'm sure all of you will do after COVID is kind of over. So when you come home to your hometown, you can always make a little action. It's very easy because nowadays, maybe also through my efforts of doing a lot of cleanups and stuff, the school teachers are really willing to do it together with the school kids, so they have a hands-on, like an action, like cleanup, and then you can also maybe donate some rubbish bins or some goodie bags that can be used for shopping, also to the parents, like if parents are really proud when they get a nice looking strong bag and they can take that to the market, and maybe there's a slogan written on them, say no to plastic, for example. So those things can already really help to make the Batak land a better place, because the rubbish problem used to be really terrible. It has really improved now, I must say, at least on Samosir. And well, still there's unlucky times when wind is blowing one way and blowing all the rubbish back into our bay and stuff, so it still happens, but in general it has improved. And maybe that should be one task of people that have more background knowledge about taking care more about environment. So that could be like something to do for you guys.
Okay, thank you, Annette. So because we are way over time, I think we're gonna allow 2 more questions. One from Oni. Ya, Oni, masih mau bertanya kan?
Ya.
Okay, and then after Oni, it is to Bang Bona and Kaika, and then after that, I really apologize to everyone. We'll have to close this thing out, and then but feel free. We're gonna leave some context so that if there are any more questions to Annette, we can absolutely answer. So 2 more questions after Oni, and then we go to Derwood for Bang Bona Silalahi. Okay, silakan Oni.
Okay, thank you, Bang. Horas, Eda.
Horas.
Tadi Imelda Norton itu, we have a Marsada fellowship here in Texas. So I live in Dallas, Texas, and Imelda is one of our family, Marsada family in Texas. So yes, my question is, first of all, I love your honesty, and I love your approach about being honest about the Batak culture, but also accepting the Batak culture. My question is, how long did it take to somewhat understand the Batak culture because it's a lot, and I'm Batak and I'm still learning a lot too.
I still haven't understood it all. So I'm still learning. But well, basically, through my intellectual friends in Jakarta, that's when it was a big eye opener for me when I found out the theory of things people are doing here. Like, what's the ulos? What's the meaning of giving an ulos? So far in this part of the world, people could only tell me the ulos is like a rainbow. It's like connecting two people, and like the real background, the history, and the use of the ulos and all this I learned from a friend in Jakarta, and that was maybe after being here more than 10 years. Because people that live in here are, as I said, are not really intellectual, so they do it, and they kind of do it from the heart, and it's tradition, and they would always do it, but they never ask, why am I doing this? And why is Batak like this? So but nowadays it's a lot on the web, like you can easily learn about it reading things on the web, whether it's in Batak, Indonesian, or English, it's all there. So I think take time, and maybe there is needed that people spend time here to understand better, more than only theory.
All right.
Jadi maksudnya Oni, tinggallah 4 bulan di huta, kira-kira begitu. Bilanglah ke Oni.
Lau mangula.
Lau mangulak maho, unang sehulan di Texas. Jadi,
I'm the sister. Oh ya, go ahead, Pak.
Iya, jadi Oni ini itu Annette adalah pariban saya. Jadi dia dan istri saya kakak beradik kandung. Jadi pariban kami di Texas. Iya. Oke, thank you Oni. Kita lanjut ya, pertanyaan terakhir. Mohon maaf sekali lagi untuk yang bertanya di chat, tapi kita akan record, kita akan pass nanti ya setelah ini ke itu Annette. Jadi pertanyaan terakhir adalah dari Bang Bona Silalahi. Nah ini Aidonga tubuh hamu do, mardonga tubuh do hamu itu Annette dohot Bang Bona, Lai Anton dengan Bang Bona. Silakan Bang Bona.
Ya, makasih Andri. Ya, Horas. Nah ini, sebelum saya terusin, saya mau tanya dulu silalahinya silalahi apa?
Nah,
jadi saya
silalahi
bisa.
Raja do, Amang. Maranggi silalahi adamu.
Aku pintu batu. Batu Raja.
Itu. Berarti neneraku akangmu mawat.
Aku panggil kakak lah ya.
Ima.
Iya. Iya, jadi itu pertanyaan pertama saya. Gitu. Jadi pertanyaan kedua saya, cuma 2 pertanyaan nih, Kak. Jadi ini Boruta Barat nih di samping saya. Ya. Jadi kalau menurut saya, kakak ini sudah menjadi, ya boleh dikatakan di sosmed dan lain-lain itu viral di kalangan kaum Batak, ya di kalangan komunitas Batak di seluruh dunia. Mungkin sejak 5-7 tahun yang lalu lah, gitu. Jadi menurut saya juga kakak ini menjadi inspirasi buat banyak kita, halak kita untuk pulang ke Bonapasogit. Begitu, inspirasi yang benar-benar nyata begitu. Antara lain untuk kita berdua, saya sama Boruta Barat ini. Jadi suatu saat, bukan suatu saat, kita akan mudik ke sana dan stay for good di Samosir.
Oh, great.
Ya.
Iya,
Kebetulan kampung saya di Renyate di Samosir. Gitu. Nah, mungkin ada 1-2 lagi dari kita di sini yang ada di chat ini yang juga punya pilihan seperti itu. Saya nggak akan sebut namanya, ada di sini orangnya yang akan pulang for good, maybe like 4-5 tahun yang akan datang. Gitu. Nah,
Utapela, bilanglah begitu Bang, Kurnia Utapea. Ya, silakan Bang, lanjut Bang, lanjut.
Itu dia, ada itu Kurnia Utapea nih.
Iya.
Ya udah. Jadi kepada kita ini yang punya inspirasi seperti itu, apalah tanggapan kakak ini? Apa advice kakak buat kita ini supaya lebih lebih mantap pilihannya Begitu Kak. Kalau kami udah mantap gitu. Tapi mungkin ada lagi gitu ya yang bisa di-influence oleh Kakak. Gitu Kak. Terima kasih ya Kak.
Ya, saya sangat senang kalau perantau mulak tuhuta karena itu bisa increase how do I say capacities. Like I'm sure in outside Indonesia people learn a lot, ya. So itu di luar negeri kita pasti bawa pengalaman dan advanced countries, ya. Advanced in the, especially my biggest concern is environment and also mindset, character, yeah. So I'm sure you can come back and do a good task here, like mungkin bisa sedikit coba memengaruhi orang di sini supaya get away from their materialism, getting back again closer to nature and to values, and for like business idea, I think everybody can come home and make a really good hotel wherever it is. It's really needed. We need good hotels with Western management. I'm sorry to say that. It's not arrogant, but I hear that from a lot of people that where there's Western management, it kind of runs better. And so I think that's a great opportunity if you want to do business. If you only want to do pension here, then I suggest janganlah buat rumah begu-beguan lah di sini. Karena itu kadang salahnya orang di sini pulang ke sini menunjukkan apa semua hartanya yang sudah dikumpul di Portibion. Jadi lebih baik sederhana, lebih baiklah kita lebih join into the whatever the architecture here, and yeah, we don't need showing off. Yeah, I think these days are over. Also through COVID, a lot of people have learned about better values and more important to share than to grab. And so that's maybe something you can bring into Batak culture, like come back and be humble, be with the people and give a bit of input about a better life kind of thing.
All right. So we ready?
Yeah.
Ayo. Rotterdam benar. Rotterdam benar.
Kebetulan Kurnia itu arsitektur tuh, jadi dia bisa mungkin sedikit kasih tanggapan lah, Kurnia nih yang mau pulang ke Boti.
Ya, terima kasih ya, Pariban, Annette, Pariban, Annette siallagan. Ya memang seperti dibilang Bang Bona tadi, memang saya ada rencana mau pulang ke Lagu Boti for good. Mungkin, ya, mungkin less than 5 years. Jadi, jadi kita ingin memberikan sisa kehidupan kita untuk membantu masyarakat yang ada di sana, dan kita bisa saling membangun, saling memberikan, saling mengisi lah, kira-kira begitu. Jadi begitu aja, sederhana seperti itu aja, Pariban.
Ya, ini baik sekali. Ya, saya setuju.
Mantap, terima kasih Bang Bona, terima kasih To Annette, Kurnia. Jadi di sebelah Tabo Cottage itu Kurnia masih banyak tanah yang lapang untuk berinvestasi di situ. Jadi mantap, nanti bisa berpartner. Amin. Baik, jadi karena sekarang sudah 1,5 jam kita, lewat 30 menit daripada waktu rancangan awal kita sudahi webinar ini. Itu Annette, thank you again. For your time, for agreeing to be our main resource, and for all the wonderful sharing and words and answers that you have given. Mohon Ito sampaikan salam hangat kami untuk Anton, Niusilalahi, dan anak-anak. Semoga kita bisa bertemu langsung di waktu yang dekat ini ya. And then to all the attendees, thank you for joining us. We hope that you not only enjoy, menikmati, tapi juga receive the main message of this webinar. The wonderful Lake Toba and its surrounding, the beauty of Batak culture, and certainly yang pasti kunjungi tanah kampung kita and come visit Ito Annette and her family in Tabo Cottage in Samosir. Recording webinar ini nanti akan dipost di YouTube Saroha. Jadi di YouTube itu ada channel Saroha USA kalau saya tidak salah, dan nanti akan dipost di sana. And we will see you all in the next webinar, because this is the first of several webinars that Saroha is planning. Jadi bukan orang Batak kayaknya kalau sudah berbicara kalau tidak pakai upasa ya. Jadi saya tutup dengan upasa-upasa Batak untuk kita semua. Napurat tanu-tanu rangging marsi ranggoman, tungpe barata padaudau, tondita marsi gongkoman. Mesi tambah tua parlinggoman isi borok, debata namartua, luhut mahita di parorot. Sahat sulu maina, sahat matu bodean, sahat mahita sude mangulu, sahat mahita sude tu perhorasan, sahat mahita tu panggabean. Horas
matutu. Horas.
Oke semua, thank you very much. Horas, mau lihat itu Annette.
Horas.
Thank you everyone.